afternoon, beautiful people. We are out this afternoon on Rietspruit Game Reserve. It is a very hot, very humid, very beautiful December afternoon. December?
Yeah.
It's still in December, yeah. The festive season gets us all fuzzy, doesn't it? It feels like swimming in syrup this afternoon. The humidity has come up. The clouds have crept over the northern Drakensberg, as they've been doing every day during this time. And we are kind of expecting maybe a little bit of rain, but I think later we should get through drive. No problem. Now we are on our way into an area where one of the big bull elephants has been seen. So we're going to try and catch up with him. Now he was drinking from a reservoir, and it would have been lovely to get to him in time for that, but unfortunately that's not how bush time works. Bush time is not our time. Bush time is the animals' time. And he has moved south from where he was drinking and has found himself in the thicket. So now he's gone south into an area where there is no road. We're going to take the closest road. It's like a little two-track, so it could be an adventure in and of itself. And we're going to head up that closest road and see if he emerges, or we can listen and hear for branches breaking. And then, I don't know if you're picking up on the radio, but there was a rhino cow, white rhino cow and calf also seen in that area. So it's going to be a great area for us to start our game drive this afternoon. And from there, I guess we will figure out where to go next. There's always the potential for something big and furry with claws, maybe. Or small and slender with Mickey Mouse ears, wild dog. Or long and slender and fast and spotted, a cheetah. And then if we're talking about potential, there's always a chance that we'll get some rosettes. But that hasn't proved very fruitful for me as of yet. It would be a Christmas miracle. If we could find a leopard, I'd be a very happy girl. Especially, oh, Andrew's got something. There you go, everybody. An Impala lamb. These lambs have been playing tricks on us this season. We saw our first Impala lamb in the second week of November. And now we're in the last week of December, and we really haven't seen very many. Usually, they have synchronized conception, so they have synchronized birthing, but for some reason it seems a little out of whack. At least that's my observation of what's going on. But this one is absolutely adorable. I'd say it's probably about a week old. There's just a little bit more muscle tone than when they're a day or two old. It has got quite a bit of coordination. It's confident enough to hang back when mum's crossed the road already. So put this one around a week. Now normally you'd anticipate a handful or more females, and they would all have lambs that were roughly the same age. We're going to creep closer, and maybe there will be more. Maybe we'll get lucky with, well, another sighting of this little lamb, or perhaps there'll be other Impala ewes with all of their other offspring. Oh, yay! It's so exciting. I think what makes it so cool, having had the season, to me, the feeling that the season's a little bit strange, is that
The tire over a branch.
Oh, the tire over a branch. Something jumped up next to me and I was like, what is this? There's that lamb again, Andrew. This is a lamb that's enjoying its TV debut. It's not worried about the fact that its mum, she's coming back for it. She's like, come on, little one. Okay, mum. That's cute.
Andreas going mobile on Deadwood, standing by for update.
Very, very cute.
Good afternoon. We currently 5 stations on Blowbank.
And off it goes. Now, the problem with it being on its own, is it on its own? Oh, there's more! This is exciting. Yay! So I would say, just by observation, the one in the front might be a little bit older than the one at the back.
1 out of 5. I only heard 5 stations on Blowbank and Liner.
But it will be, if that is the case, it will be marginally different, the ages. Now, I can see a female wandering around on the left-hand side. That one we can see in screen right now is definitely a mother of one of the lambs. And then there's another female just to the left, but she's not in great condition. I'm wondering if she is the mother of one of these lambs, or if perhaps there's even more impala hiding behind all the thick vegetation here. I might sneak forward, show you the female that I'm referring to, and then see if there's any others in this area. Yeah, this one. You can just see she looks better than I thought she did. She's fine. Yeah, she is. She has got a bit of hair loss on the inside of her left back leg. I don't know. Her condition's better than I thought it was. When I was looking at her through the trees, she kind of looked a bit skinnier than I had hoped. But she's actually going to be okay. Andrew was right. There was a little bit of hair loss on the inside of her leg, but I'm pretty sure that should be, if she's healthy and she's feeding on good vegetation, that should be relatively inconsequential. 2 lambs. Where are they? Are they? She's moving them around the thicket as we move. That is such a little one. Oh, it's so small. And it's gone. Tiny. That one was tiny. Maybe it's a third one. I don't know if we have 3 or 2. I thought the 2 that we'd seen initially were just like a little bit bigger than that one. But it could also just be the angle at which we were viewing them. Sweet, sweet little precocial impala lambs. Precocial is the term we give to animals, birds as well, that are born big and stronger, and they can fend for themselves, like in ways like being able to run, stand up, move with mom, and so an impala is a good example. In fact, all of our herbivores would be good examples. They're walking within a couple of hours of birth, which means that they're very well developed for newborns. Whereas other animals, like humans or lions, baby young lion cubs, newborn lion cubs, we would refer to as altricial. Altricial, even some birds are altricial. Those are the ones that hatch and they have no feathers and their eyes are closed and they need a little extra nurturing. But the altricial animals are really, really vulnerable at birth. They're not walking, their eyesight is oh, goodness me, words. Their eyesight is poor and their dependence is entirely on their mother for survival, for food, or their parents in certain bird instances, and provisions. Basically, they depend entirely on their caregivers. So it's two types of strategies, survival strategies for young. Both of them have their perks. Being a precocial individual means that you can move with your mother and you can keep up with the herd, and often then there's safety in numbers. But you're vulnerable to predation because you're weaker than the rest of your herd and you're smaller than the rest of your herd. And then mothers that give birth to precocial young will also carry them for longer. You'll find the gestation period is longer. So if you talk about the gestation period of something like an elephant, that's nearly 2 years, 22 months. Or the gestation period of a giraffe, which is under 2 years as well. It's 16 months. Even Impala, for being quite a small animal, their gestation period is a little 6 months, sometimes a bit longer. And they all carry their young for much longer, so that's quite uncomfortable for them, but they have to carry them for longer in order to produce offspring that can come out strong. And they'll only have one offspring, usually. The Altricial offspring, oh, look at those. Speaking of giraffe, that's a winner. I'll continue my chat about Altricial and precocial in a minute. But have a look, we have two stunning giraffes here. Oh, they're looking in the same direction. What are they looking at? Maybe it could be another giraffe. It could be a... Oh, you see a third giraffe. Alrighty. So they're looking at another giraffe. Sometimes when they fixate their focus like that, there could be a predator in the area. But no, they're not that fixated. It looks to me like it's two females. Their ossicones are what's giving it away. I have no way to tell what's happening beneath the belly. The one on the right is definitely a female. Thin ossicones. That's what we call their horns on their head, ossicones. And when they were facing the opposite direction, there was no balding on the top of those ossicones. So that would be an indication, something we'd look forward to distinguish them as females. Males would typically have much thicker ossicones because they need them for fighting. Oh, here's a third female coming into view now. It might have been the individual that they were looking at, approaching. She looks like she's got a perfect heart, one of her splotches on her neck, towards the base of her neck on the right hand side. That's pretty cute. She's our Valentine's giraffe. She wears her heart on her sleeve. She wears her heart on her neck sleeve. Now we've just driven past another vehicle and they let us know that the elephant bull is actually heading to the road that we've just come from, but he's cut through the block of land. So as much as beautiful as it is to sit with these lady giraffes, we're going to turn around and see if we can intercept that elephant, and then we will put some beeping. And then perhaps we'll catch up with these girls a bit later, or maybe we'll find some new giraffes. What do you say? Should we go find the elephant? Methinks. Pretty, you're pretty. Okay, oopsie. Angie nearly dropped something. Great, thanks. We're chatting about Altricial and precocial, and quite frankly, I can't remember exactly where I left off. But basically, oh yes, Altricial females will give birth to more than one offspring usually. We're actually an exception. But if you think about wild dogs, I mean, their litters recorded up to 16 pups one female has given birth to. Lions are usually between 2 and 5. Leopards between 1 and 3. So there's advantages to being able to carrying for shorter gestation periods. It means that you can carry more young, and then there's obviously a much higher maternal investment in the rearing of those animals, of those babies, because they need more input. So it's energy expensive for the mothers of the precocial offspring while they are pregnant, because it's a long gestation, but it's energy expensive for the altricial mothers once the offspring are born, because then they require a lot of TLC. I'm hoping we can find this elephant. He might be sending us on a wild goose chase, and if that is the case, if we feel like we're not going to win with him, then I'm going to head on north and see if we can get to the last position of where some male lions were left last night, or not last night, this morning. That would be cool too. So we'll just see if we can intercept him at the next junction, which is where we were told he was heading. If we do, yay, that'll be great. If we don't, then we're gonna head on north and see if we get lucky with the lions. Okay. There's another vehicle with us who's looking for this elephant as well. They're the car that saw him a little earlier, so they do know. They had a better idea of where he was going. He is playing hard to get this afternoon. Maybe they found him. Maybe not. Turning around. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna head north. See if I can get those. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I think we're gonna, good luck. I think we're gonna go this way. That's funny. No, they said he was on a bit of a mission, and they're not seeing any sign of him here, so they're gonna try to find him. If they find him, that'll be great. But I'm quite keen to go north. Tricky. Where the lions are sounds like it's actually quite a tricky area, and we're probably about 30 minutes out anyway, so we gotta make tracks to get into that area. But they're in an area where it can be difficult to navigate, but also it's that time of the day where lions, not just yet, there's still a lot of heat, oppressive heat. But that will lift very soon, and then I think that we might get lucky with some action, maybe? Lion action is always something I don't hedge my bets on.
The part of the surrounding nature.
Where did he say?
Stop.
Everything's happening in this area, perhaps.
For that, on the station.
Kevin, can you just go again? You were spoken over.
I got 2 Impala with 2 lambs, just next to Giraffe.
Copy, thanks. I've seen those too. He's just telling me that he's got those cute Impala lambs there. You see, everybody's still excited about them. It's amazing how we all get so excited about Impalas this time of the year. All right, it sounds like the lionesses. Ooh, Andrew, is this going to be good enough? Okay, look here, everybody. We have a little animal, part of the small 5 here. A leopard tortoise. Now,
I've got 2 cheetah on the southern fence line of Kaya.
often they are
Rhino crossing, and one on the other side.
said to be an indication of the rain, but we've been seeing a lot of tortoises around lately.
Sunday, I'm responding 7 minutes.
All right, everybody. Sorry, we had a bit of a break up there, but we are now zooming in the direction of the male lions. They are far. They are far. And you know what? We might see something fabulous along the way. Sometimes it happens that you set a plan in the bush, and that's exactly what you need to do in order to get given a different plan. The bush is the boss. I just work in it. I mean, it's a bit silly, but it really is true that there are so many different outcomes whenever you begin a game drive, and the chances of you seeing something you didn't expect to see, pretty high. Right now, we're expecting to see male lions, so anything could happen. We will stop along the way if we see anything interesting. Of course, there were reports of rhino in this area, and this area is super popular for rhino. One of the things that makes our reserve so special is how frequently we get top quality rhino sightings. If you watched a few evenings ago, yeah. It's a last drive. Last drive we had 3 rhinos basically sniffing me. Not really, but they came so close and it was such a spectacular sighting. Made me incredibly happy. So very much looking forward. Well, not looking forward, but very much enjoy the quality of rhino sightings we get on this reserve. We have Rhino Revolution to thank for that. They are always doing amazing work with rhinos in rhino conservation and rhino relocation, and making sure that the genetics remain strong and that our population is vibrant. And I can tell you, it's vibrant. The more you get to know the individuals, the more you notice very interesting behaviors. I think we have some more Impala up front on the right. I'm going to probably just move past them, just because we don't want to get to the male lions and they've moved and then we can't find them. We want to try and get into that area before this heat lifts and be with them as the heat lifts. That is lion o'clock. Oh, it's mainly rams. rams and 1 female. Actually, it's quite a nice, sorry Andrew, let's just see if we can get, no, they're not really going to stand for us. We just have a really nice age comparison going on here. The ram that we've got there now looks to be about 3 years old. See how his horns are quite big, they're touching, almost touching at the top, they've come together in like a diamond. And the ram on the right-hand side is a mature male. You can see he's got an extra turn in his horns compared to the male we were just looking at. And they are far more open. So he will be a breeding male. He'll be a male who's competitive in the ruts that happen around the May period. May, June, that time of the year. And he'll be anything older than 4. And then on the left-hand side there, we have a 1-year-old male on the left hand of the screen with those little straight horns. He's gone down to feed, but I'm sure he'll come up soon. He would have been just born this time last year. Nice. Nice to see all the different ages of Impalas. Cool. It's easy with the males to see where they are at in their maturity. It's less easy with the females. The females who are a year old, the only real telltale is that they won't be having babies this time of the year, and they're a little smaller, they're more petite. When they get a bit bigger, well, they can breed from 2 years old, but generally around 3 years old. That's primary parity for a Impala lamb. No, not an Impala lamb. An Impala ewe. When she will have her lamb. Ooh. I was just dive bombed by a dung beetle. Happens a lot out here, but usually you expect it to happen after dark. When you're holding a light, you don't expect it to happen when you're driving around in the day. Sounds like our male cheetahs we have a dominant male pair of cheetahs on the reserve, and they are on Kaya and Lowveld, which is a portion of the reserve that we actually don't make use of. Quite far in the northeast, a relatively small property in comparison to the rest of the reserve, but it's not an area that we drive on. So until those cheetah make their way back towards us, we unfortunately can't see them. There is a Mabai and her cub that we could see. They haven't been seen for about a week, so I'm sure they are moving around somewhere in the west where it's nice and thick and the roads are really bumpy and people don't spend too much time searching that area. I think that that's probably where they hide out in the times when we go about a week without seeing them, and then they pop back up. Usually it's around there. But the nice thing is that when they are in areas like that, often they'll migrate slowly towards camp. So it would be really nice if we could get them in the next couple of days. We love Mabai's Bubba, her cub. She's a beautiful young female. She's about 13, 14 months old. She has the most exquisite marking in her eye, and it makes her just a very unique, very gorgeous female. She's going to grow up to be a spectacular cheetah. Sounds very promising for us. The male lions still sleeping, which is great. I'm okay with that. I think for our next drive, we should see how many migrant birds we can put on camera. This drive, we have a focus. We are looking for our male lions. The Rietspruit boys is what we've affectionately nicknamed them. But it would be nice to focus on all the different migrant birds that are returning. We just drove past a redback trike. We've heard all the different cuckoos calling. We've seen woodland kingfishers and even European rollers, which is early. Well, they were first seen early. It's now not early anymore. This is the time we expect them to arrive. Around the end, or that's when they've arrived the last 2 seasons, latter parts of December. So let's earmark one of the drives for a migrant bird drive. We'll see how many birds we can add to a bird list. I'm excited. Give us a new challenge. And Murphy's Law, that will be the day we see something ridiculous like a cheetah kill. Andrew on the back of the vehicle on camera, he has had no shortage of cheetah kills this year. I think he's seen about 6. I've yet to see a cheetah kill on Rietspruit. Although I have seen cheetahs make kills, so I can't complain. I've just grown so fond of the cheetahs that we see regularly on this reserve. So it'd be really nice to watch them hunt successfully. Every time they've done it, I've been the person manning the desk, keeping the tech up. Which is still exciting. Oh, what do we see? What do we see? Andrew's seen something. Let's go back, let's go back. Let's go back slowly. Where must I stop? Okay. Ooh. Nice, Andrew. Very nice. So we have a rock monitor. They are so cool, and this one is very well camouflaged. I didn't even see it, but Andrew's the reptile guy, so naturally he would have spotted it. With an incredible zoom lens, it makes perfect sense that we would... I mean, you can see it so beautifully, but when you're driving past, it actually just looks like an extension of the tree. I'm sure he is loving this heat. His little internal solar panels are fully charged up. Now, we get 2 types of monitors here. We get the rock monitor and we get the water monitor. And the rock monitor has a much more angular face and less coloration on its body, whereas the water monitor has all-round smoother appearance and has kind of blue-grey accents with a more mottled appearance. Naturally, you would generally find the rock monitor is usually, rock monitor is usually on land, where the water monitor is found around water. They're very similar species. Some of you might know them as a leguan. That's what we call them in South Africa. A leguan. Breathing relatively heavily there. You can see it in the gular region. Perhaps trying to keep cool, even though there's not that much sun. That eye is super beautiful. Every now and then he blinks. You can see the nictating membrane. There you go. He's super cool. He's like, I'm frozen. If I don't move, you won't see me. Very cool. Very happy Andrew spotted him. Good spotting, Andrew. Now, oh, look at the texture of his skin as well. I say his, but I don't know that it's a him or a her. There's also some little critters crawling around behind the eye there. They are susceptible to parasites, so you could find things like ticks that latch onto them, but I don't think that what we were seeing was a tick. It's now behind and below the ear region. I have no idea what that little thing is crawling on him, but it can't be very fun to have it crawling on you, especially when you don't have... It might be an ant, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like it has a more robust body. Could be a good snack if you just decided to wipe your face with your tongue, monitor lizard. Watch how that skin moves. Yeah, that's super cool. It's actually such a beautiful animal. There you go. It's coming up to the corner of the mouth, that little ant-like creature. It is a little tick. I think it's a tick, everyone. And I think it's trying to find an area that it can attach to. The nostril might be a good spot. You should definitely deal with that before it's too late. I don't know, just something about the quality, the way it walked, the size of the body made me think that it was a tick. And now that it's gone into the crevice in the nose, I'm even more inclined to think that that's what it is. But I think this was a fantastic pit stop and a beautiful animal to see. What a wonderful sighting. I think we're going to leave him, and I think we're going to amble on north towards the area of Lodge Pan. Happy. Andrew and I are in agreement. Andrew actually went on a Steve Irwin Crocodile Dundee reptile rescue mission a couple of weeks ago when we were burning controlled burns. And controlled burns are vital for this environment. We burnt, the particular area we burnt, we wanted a hot fire. It was an area that had quite a bit of moribund material, so a lot of grass, dead grass buildup, which had high fuel load for fires. And if a fire started there, naturally it would be impossible for us to control it. So what we do is we select an area to burn, a large area to burn, and we burn that area knowing that then it won't burn naturally for a couple of seasons. So we mimic a natural wildfire, but we contain it within parameters. We fight fire with fire. We keep it nice and safe. And in our block burn this year, we had a rock monitor, not too different in size to that one, who decided that the fire was appealing. It was keeping him warm. He'd been cold all winter. He'd got sick and tired of estivation and hiding. Estivation's kind of like a reptile hibernation. Not quite, but not that dissimilar. So something like that. And so Andrew went trundling in. We have a beautiful Nyala here. I'm going to stop there for Andrew. She was looking at something. I'm going to roll forward. Boom. Pretty. Why are you on your own? If you're alone, you're vulnerable out here. She's hyper alert. Her ears haven't stopped moving since we've
Does anybody have a chance for the leading stations on the global?
arrived here. Quite jittery. It's possibly because she's on her own. If there were more of them, then she might feel more relaxed. Okay, she's settled. She doesn't mind us anymore. Nice to see her. We've got quite a good Nyala population in this area.
Going on to Blowbank number 6.
You wouldn't say so by the one individual that we've seen, though. Great. Nice pop of colour in amongst all the green. That's Summer's a lovely time of the year. I love the green of summer. It's very vibrant. Something that a lot of people, well, some people have seen and some people haven't seen this season. I'm still waiting. But something that I'm very much looking forward to finding this season is a wildebeest. A baby wildebeest, a wildebeest calf. Now I know that they have been seen. One was reported in the area that we're heading into. One was reported this morning. So perhaps we'll get lucky. I don't actually want to see the new wildebeest close to where the lions are, because we do not have a massive wildebeest population on Rietspruit, and it would be really nice if they could just have a successful breeding season without the lions obliterating them while they're still vulnerable. Of course, a lion hunt is always an interesting thing to watch, even if it is slightly difficult to palate, tough to palate. It's still an interesting thing for us to see, but they can hunt something else. Not a baby wildebeest, not this season. Our wildebeest population was reduced to, I don't know, less than 10 by the lions. And then in about September, end of September, beginning of October, we received 54 wildebeest from an area in Tabazimbi, and to bolster the population. And they've actually done really well. There's quite a large herd in the north, so in the area that we're very close to now. There's a large herd that is around 30 individuals, which is really not very, that's quite substantial. Obviously, we released 54. We know that on one afternoon, the lions killed 3, which is a little bit excessive. But beyond that, I actually haven't heard of that many wildebeest kills since they've arrived, which is really good because these wildebeest came from an area where there's no predators. So they weren't predator savvy. Luckily, being, quite a large herd, 54 is a substantial size. But it's a big, not an issue, but it's something to consider in wildlife and game management, is the fact that if you want plains game on your reserve, like wildebeest or often giraffe or zebra, they need to be brought in from reserves where they're bred, and where they're bred there's not predators, and where they're not predators, the animals don't actually have an inbuilt fear and respect for a predator. Hi there! How are you? That's good. Having a good afternoon? Cheers, have fun. Anyway, so, ooh, look at this. Beautiful male giraffe. And he's got an oxpecker between his ossicones. Tricky to see, but it's perched there. There you go. And he didn't hang around. He actually looks like he might have a limp. I will let him wander off. That's nice. So the difficult thing is if you're gonna need to stock your reserve with different species, you have to account for a buffer that will get, unfortunately, fall prey to the predators. And I mean, this is a large open system. This is entirely natural. There's no concern that it would be like feeding live animals to lions. It's not like that. This is the wild. What we are doing by reintroducing species is getting this wild area to what its original carrying capacity should be. Carrying capacity in wildlife is actually arguably an outdated terminology. It more refers to livestock, because everything in nature, particularly in the savanna biome, is always in flux. There's always an ebb and a flow, high numbers of this, low numbers of this, low numbers of this influence this, so that there's high numbers of the, and so it just goes like this. It's like the ocean, it's never still. But we are approaching the area of where these lions are. We're about 5 minutes away. So that'll be fun. Stations, I'm keen to respond to the 2 male lions. I'm about 5 out. Now, Murphy's Law, we've come all the way north, and the pride of lions were found within 5 minutes of our house. Maybe that's a little bit of an over-exaggeration or an under-exaggeration. They're about 15 minutes from our house, but it's just so funny how you can set your sights on one thing and then something else. If we had just hung around looking for that male elephant, that elephant bull, we would have actually been in the right area to go to those lionesses. But we can always save that for another drive. Well, you never know. Maybe I think it's unlikely that we'll get to them today. Who knows? We have some beautiful bee eaters flying over us. European bee eaters. It's okay, it's tricky for Andrew to put them on camera, but they've gone over and they're stunning. Okay, now we're in the correct area. We just actually have to find the lions. Andrew and I don't learn from our mistakes. We went on a drive about 2 weeks ago and got annihilated by mosquitoes, and I don't think either of us put mosquito repellent on for this drive this afternoon. And we're already both feeling I can't see what you're seeing.
See the bee in the tree directly in front of you?
Do I see the bee in the tree?
Yeah, so there's this. Oh, my hand's in the shot.
The bee or the V?
Directly in front of you.
Okay.
No, you're looking the wrong way. Directly.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, maybe. Could be a lion.
Could be a termite mouse. If anything.
I'm thinking it's 2 lions. Maybe we're wrong. Oh, it looks like it could be, but I think it's not. What? That's crazy. It really does look like 2 lions lying here, but they're not. It's a piece of wood. It's a piece of wood.
Once you've got a rhino with a calf on Boulder Bay, just north of Texas Road.
No, they're not here. We are at Lodge Pan, which is where they were this morning. Now, everybody who's seen them today
Good
said that they
afternoon,
were in
I'm just
the
asking if I go south from Boaters Road or is it very close to the junction?
eroded section. Now, the eroded section is just to the west of this area, so I think even though they said south of Lodge Pan, they probably, I think they're probably here in
about a minute or so.
the west.
Andy's closing down.
Let's go have a look, Andrew. Andrew and everyone.
We've seen three
God.
tortoises this afternoon so far. They're very active.
So, that was quite a funny radio call. Somebody's just saying we've already seen 3 tortoises this afternoon. Well, we've seen one. Folks, just a reminder, especially if you're one of our pack members, you need to be one of our pack members for this to apply to you. But if you are one of our pack members, you are eligible to claim a high resolution copy of a stunning image taken by Andrew of a spotted eagle owl. What you need to do is email to info@painteddog.tv and we will get that to you sometime after the 5th of January. It'll be on screen now next to me, so have a look. Have a look for that. Pack members, if you want to become a pack member, you'll have to check out our website because there are lots of special perks and benefits that one can get their hands on when you, like this image of an owl, when you do become a pack member of ours. Where be the lions? No. There's another vehicle trundling around. I can see them moving there. This eroded section in front of us is where the lions were last seen. I don't know. They kind of have their cameras up there. Let's see if we can get around to that side. What do you think?
Oh, looks like he's doing a U-turn.
Oh, I thought I saw somebody lifting their camera. I also don't see anything just yet. I reckon we could get this car in here, but I'm not sure it's worth it. No, I think they have got them. That other car seems to have found or got eyes on the lion, so we're just gonna go around. Try and... There's a thorn tree I don't want to drive myself into. Ow! Ow! What happens when your rear view mirror can't see the tree? No, I'm kidding. What rear view mirrors? Andrew is my rear view mirror. Okay. Nice thing about our nifty little car is that if they're in a tricky spot, we might be able to navigate our way in just because it's nice and compact, short wheelbase, not too heavy. So I'm hoping that in a situation like this where the lions are in a slightly trickier area, we'll be able to maneuver our way in now. I'm just looking at where different people have gone off the road at different points. Oh, there looks like there's a 2-track here. 2 tracks are promising. I'm not going right behind them here. Yeah. Oh, they're there. I can see a lot. How's that, Andrew?
Tiny bit more
Forward.
tiny bit. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, male lions doing nothing. As male lions so often do. Their bellies look full, and they're breathing
Rhinos are moving open to the bush now.
rather
It's
heavily,
300 meters north of Texas, right on Boulder. We're getting even open up.
which is obviously an indication of the fact that it's really hot at the moment. Also, if they've had a good meal recently, then it's it helps with them, like the metabolism, the process of metabolizing the food in their belly, increasing their respiratory rate, which increases their metabolic rate, which just helps them feel a little bit more comfortable with their big bellies trying to digest in such hot weather. Now we can see one there, that's one of the male lions in front of us, or in the camera, but just to the left of him is another male lion. This is a coalition of 2 now. It used to be a coalition of 3, but as happens quite regularly in the wild, one of them became injured, started falling behind. These 2 males picked on him, and oh, we're having a little roll around flop. And eventually he just disappeared. And that happens quite regularly with big male lion coalitions, is that there's actually not room for a whole bunch of them. They'll often start out when they leave their natal pride with as many as even 5 or 6. I've heard of coalitions of 7 related males who've dispersed from their pride and tried to take over other prides, but those coalitions very rarely succeed as a huge coalition because the odds of them being able to breed are much more slim when they have the competition of their brothers and cousins that they're contending with. So it's really helpful when you're establishing your dominance over a pride to have a whole band of you. But once the dominance has been established, often there becomes a bit of infighting between the males if they've all stuck around. That's just because the opportunities for breeding are so much more scarce. There is a vehicle moving past us, so if it gets loud, that's why. Andrew, shall we see if we can get a better angle? Okay, we're going to just maneuver a little bit, everyone, to see if we can get a better view of them through the gap that other car was in. And then we'll have a look. They are starting to stir. They're rolling over. They're kind of squishing up against each other, stretching legs. Watch out on the left, Andrew. I don't feel like hurting you. Ooh, this is tricky. Nice. That poise, to me, is the stature and the stance of King of the Jungle. Every single part of a male lion that is vulnerable, reproductive organs, intestines, throat, it's all exposed when he lies on his back with his legs in the air. So you can only lie like that to cool down if you trust that you are totally safe. I have seen leopards do it, and we see lions doing it all the time. But it's really because it's much cooler for them to lie like this. And it takes the pressure off those full bellies too. From this angle, their bellies don't look as full. So the females that I was telling you about earlier that are not too far from our home where we live, those females are the pride that this coalition is dominant over. The Rietspruit pride, which are 5 lionesses. 5 lionesses, 2 male in this area. It is a small system, so we only have 1 pride and 1 coalition. And small game reserve, I mean, it's not that small, it's a very substantial game reserve, but it's small in that it's not considered an open system where various different prides are interacting with one another. But habitat preservation is one of the biggest threats to wild lions. There's actually, even though they're considered vulnerable on the IUCN, they're on the red list, lions in southern Africa don't actually have enough space. So the population is doing really well, and for lions to remain wild, we need as much wild space as we can get. So reserves like this really play their part in creating a wild environment where animals can live completely naturally. Look at them. The bond between coalition mates is the most important relationship they have is with each other. Their relationship with the females in the pride is very secondary to the relationship they share. Stations I've joined the sighting of the male lions south and west of Lodge Pine.
There's a big flock of bee eaters.
Yes, I don't know. Do it. I'm just going to try and get some beautiful birds on camera. These are migrants, European bee eaters. Really are cool birds. Now I'm going to try and get them up on my Robert's Bird app so that I can show you how beautiful they are. But while Andrew tries to get some of them, we can put them on. They're gone. We can still hear them. But I'm going to try and find them. We can have a look at the lions while I try and find them. Alright, so here you go. There, that's a beautiful picture. If Andrew doesn't mind. Now, this is a migrant that's arrived around August, September. And you're going to have to excuse my cracked screen. I live in the bush and I drop my phone a lot. But isn't it exquisite? All that coloration, and then when their wings are spread, it's even more beautiful. With that long bee-eater bill, so distinguishable. And then that's what they were doing now, flying over us and calling. This is a nest hole. So most bee eaters are cavity nesters. They'll have holes in banks, much like this eroded area actually, where we're sitting with the lions. That's their egg, and then that's just a drawing. Beautiful, isn't it? We get quite a few bee eater species in this area. And some of them are migrants, some of them are residents. Back to the male lions. They're still huffing and puffing. Trying desperately to cool themselves down. Luckily, the sun hasn't technically set, but there's quite a big cloud bank, so there's no more sun. I think the sun has left us for the day. Oop, heads up. This is great. He's up with no warning. Okay. Never mind. You know what I think happened there is his brother just encroached on his space so much by rolling over a few times that they were touching. And while they like to be physical contact is a big thing for lions. It's very important in their social bonds. I think in this heat he was like, no, I'm sorry, I need some personal space. It's kind of like my husband. He's just too hot. One on the left looks like it's fed more than the one on the right. These two males do have names. Some of you know that. But they are kinky tail, or the male with the kinky tail. And the other one we affectionately call Elvis because he has that little twitch in his lip. So Elvis and kinky tail. I can't tell you who's who right now because I can't see either of those features. Perhaps if I get my binoculars out, I'll be able to do a bit better. I think so too, because he doesn't have such a beaten up nose. There you go. So that's Elvis. Kinky tail at the moment looks very beaten up. He's up now too. There's the pan we drove past just now is where they're probably going to head for a drink. Folks, if you hold on, Andrew and I think are going to loop around and try and intercept them so that we can get to them at the pan. It might take a while. They might flop down before then, but he might go down there, but yeah, never mind. I still think, do you think we'll be, great. Just when you think they're going to do something fun. We might be able to see them from the other vantage point we had. Maybe. What I just don't want to miss is if they do go to Lodge Pan for a drink. So if they show any signs of moving again, I'm going to leave them and loop around in the hopes that they head towards us. Because there's a lot more activity now. There's rolling over, there's getting up, lying down, getting up, lying down. They haven't actually done any of the typical warning signs for movement though. They haven't groomed, they haven't yawned. That they get up and they move and they flick flies away. So, problem with lions is you think you're going to preempt their next move, and often you get it right, but then, you could get it very wrong. And then we've looped all the way around to the pan and they start roaring over here and we want to kick ourselves because we made such a silly error. Oop. Kinky tail. Oh, he's moving. Yeah, I think if he's going to join his brother there, look at that belly and the kink in the tail, hence the nickname. Oh, they're moving bit by bit closer to this pan. Flop down. He's so needy today. Love me, brother. That's very rude. I think I'd be very put out if somebody came and lay like that almost on top of me.
Brothers do.
Yeah, this is kind of what teenage brothers would do. My goodness me. Lions. I'm just checking here, something that I read earlier is that they only breathe 10 times a minute now. Not that I'm certainly not here to dispute textbooks, but if we put a minute timer on, I'm going to put a timer on, okay, everybody? If you hear an apple, you'll know that it's my timer. Okay, I'm watching the line on the right. We're going to go from now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. I need to breathe in. They're breathing so fast. That was 50 in 30 seconds. So let's call it 100 breaths a minute. I think that's one of my favorite things about doing the job I do is that literature is really robust, especially around a charismatic species like a lion. So I'm willing to believe that, generally speaking, they do breathe 10 breaths a minute. But it's not prescriptive, certainly not to every circumstance. And these lions, being hot and relatively full, have completely disproved what I read earlier today, that they breathe 10 times a minute. These guys have literally breathed 10 times a minute. And I couldn't even get to a whole minute because I was breathing out every time I was counting, and I didn't have enough time to make a breath in. It goes rolling over. Oh, the humidity is quite taxing, so, and it feels like it's intensified in the last 5 minutes, that there's just a build-up of pressure that we're sitting under right now, and these lions will be very sensitive to that. I think if I breathed 100 times a minute, I would faint.
I don't even breathe 100 times a minute when I'm drilling.
I don't think we do breathe 100 times a minute, even when we're gymming. But I mean, a lion's resting heart rate is 40 beats per minute, which is quite a lot less than a fit human's heart rate, which would, I think, be between 60 and 70 beats per minute. An average fit human, not a supersonic human. Although we're all mammals, there are physiological differences, of course, that make us unique. One of those ones that Andrew and I are experiencing right now is the ability to sweat. Humans have actually got a superpower in our temperature regulating skills. Although we might not feel it as a superpower, it truly is a superpower. The heat panel of an animal like a lion is really just the size of its tongue. So if they're breathing in cool air quickly over the tongue, they're cooling down the blood in the tongue, and that blood circulates throughout the body and brings the core temperature down. But if you look at the ratio of tongue to the rest of the size of the body, it's not a great ratio for rapid cooling. The other way that they can keep their body temperature or regulate their body temperature is by doing what they're doing, very little. Lying upside down, letting heat escape. I wonder if they're going to do it for us, if they're going to get up and go to that down. Maybe. Maybe eventually. Otherwise we leave them. Maybe we... It would be quite an undertaking if we wanted to get to the girls before the end of drive. It's possible, but it would mean another mini Ferrari safari. I'm just not sure that these guys are going to do much. Alternatively, maybe what we should do, a better plan. I think maybe what we do is we leave them and then we drive the road where the jackal pups were seen this morning. It's not far from here. And after that, if we don't get lucky with that, we'll head back south. I think that this heat might have them doing this for another couple of hours even. Of course, we don't know that for sure, but I think it's likely that they're not going to do very much. Let's leave. Let's have a look. We're going to drive Concert Road, which is roughly where the jackal pups were seen. That's not going to move. Alrighty. Watch out here, Andrew. Don't want to scratch you. Nice. Well, that was well worth it. Even if they are a little lethargic. A lethargic lion. Station time, leaving the male lions to themselves. They're still flat out. Oh, that was very nice. I enjoyed that a lot. You good? Andrew just did an incredible Hulk move and broke off an entire half of a tree with his hand because he didn't feel like ducking and diving. The things you do when the heat has got you. Okay, we're going to do a bit of a loop. Perhaps if we're lucky, we'll find those jackal pups. If not, we're not going to be too far from the area of these male lions. So if anybody else is coming to see them and sees any changes in their behavior, or they pick up their level of activity, or something happens, we can respond and head back to them and have a look at what it is that they're doing. But for now, I just want to drive a road called Concert Road, where they were... Jackal pups were seen this morning. They are so cute. I can feel some of that heat easing off. It feels lovely. Lovely. It's a beautiful evening. These afternoon thunderstorms have been very threatening over the last week or so. We've had a lot of rumbles from the sky, but only one of them in the last week has actually delivered any rain. And even so, it wasn't much considering the performance of the electrical storm. There's some guinea fowls on the road in front of us. They are definitely preparing to roost. It's time for them to head into the branches of some high trees because they are the favored food, or would be the favored food, of most nocturnal mesocarnivores, big birds, larger carnivores, and all of those animals that I've just mentioned will start getting active in the next 30 minutes as the evening cools off and as the night falls. So it's important that these guinea fowls find a spot to roost. I'm going to pull forward a little bit, see if we can get a slightly better view of them. Particularly around the neck region, if you can get in around the bill and necks of one of them, see. It's tricky to see what I'm looking at. Head back, head forward, head back, head forward, head back, head forward. One of them was doing something called the gular flutter, but it's just a mechanism that they use to cool themselves down after seeing the lions trying to cool themselves down and telling you that Andrew and I are trying to cool ourselves down. I wanted to show you how these birds cool themselves down, but we'll have to save it for another drive because it would be really cool to see it while I explain it to you. It's basically like bird panting, but a little bit more interesting. The temperature's dropped, eh? Nice. Nice. Andrew and I are such wussies because we don't like the extreme heat. Actually, we're way better in the extreme heat. And then what happens is the cold, it's not even cold, but the sun sets and suddenly we can't actually see the rays of the sun. And then we're like reaching for our jackets and we think we're cold. We're pathetic humans. We would not have survived if natural selection had been prevalent in humans. I don't know if you ever watched that show that used to be on TV, The Weakest Link. Might still be on TV, but we are the weakest link. Goodbye. I can smell my favorite tree. It's not my favorite. I can smell the terminalia. The sweaty, smelly, cheesy feet bush. That could be a kid's storybook title. The smelly, cheesy, what did I say? The smelly, sweaty, cheesy feet tree. It's really not a pleasant smell. I'm very glad that I learned that it's just a tree and not some gross human odor that we're smelling. Because for a long time I really couldn't understand why the bush used to smell like cheesy feet. Ooh. That's super cool. Look at how beautiful these kudus are. We actually have 4 or 5 males here, but this is by far the most impressive male and the most relaxed male. Tell me if you need me to straighten up, Andrew. Is this fine? Okay, we'll just wait because they're not making this. Oh, that one's missing. Oh no, it's just its horns have grown strangely. They're not making this easy. I'm going to turn around. Luckily, they're pretty chill. This one's just watching me, critiquing my driving like, girl, you got great clutch control. Look at his neck. That is a specimen. Stunning. Look at the huge width between the horns there. The 3 turns in the horns, in the spiral, indicating that at least 2 of them are full-grown individuals. The other 2 are almost there. What a lovely thing to see. Lovely. Pull forward a little bit more and see if we can see them again. So these are, kudus are browsers, and that means that they actually spend most of their time in the thicket and are usually a little bit shy around vehicles. But this is the main road on Lowveld Game Reserve, which is part of the Rietspruit Game Reserve. It's actually Lowveld Big Game Estate. And there are a few, it's a housing estate, so there are a few houses on this portion of the reserve. And because of that, there are quite a number of cars that use this road. And so these kudus have become very relaxed with vehicles. But what I want you to look at is the spiral of the horn on this antelope. So he's a browser, which means he spends most of his time in the thicket. If you think about living in the thicket with horns like that, surely that's a hindrance to his ability to move through the thicket quickly away from predators or potential danger, you would assume. But the eyeball of the kudu is perfectly positioned in the socket, that when he glances upward, he's going to show, lift your head back. He looks perfectly through the spiral of the horn and can see through the center all the way to the white tip. And so he's able to maneuver the tips of those horns with immaculate precision. So I've watched kudu run at top speeds through very thick encroached areas, or they're just very thick areas, and they never snag. They always have figured it out long before they even have to negotiate certain tricky areas. I'm going to pull forward once more and then we'll let them go. And then I might use that little link to see if we can get onto job. Like I just used a...
Leopard, just had a leopard sighting about 300 yards south of Chescant, heading west, heading east.
Oh my goodness me. That is the third leopard sighting on Rietspruit in 24 hours, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you heard that on the radio. That is enough to make us super excited. Only just marginally annoyed because we were actually in that area a little while ago. Let's try and head into that area. I don't know if we're going to get lucky with a leopard. I think they've already lost that leopard. And we are a distance away. But you know what? It is on our way home. So we're going to abort the mission of jackal pups. And we're going to head into the area of where that leopard was called in. And then we're just going to see. If we get lucky, we get lucky. If we don't, we don't. But I haven't seen a Rietspruit leopard yet. I'm yet to see a leopard on Rietspruit. I've seen, obviously, many more leopards. And I know that I'm very privileged to have seen as many leopards as I've seen and spent as many times. But I'm so selfish. I really, really want one on Rietspruit. I really want to see one. I really want to see one. Andrew's going, oh, no, 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 no. Mainly because I lived in the land of leopards for so long. But in my head, I think he's going, oh, because he's seen so many on this reserve, but I have not. I'm just going to move around at this pace just because I think that, you know, obviously chances are slim, but I'll take any chance I can get. I'm going to go Sescant. Andrew and I are discussing our route. I wanted to go back a different route, but now because this leopard is close to where we were earlier, we're going to backtrack a little bit and see if we can find her. I assume it's a her. The reason I say find her is because we saw a female leopard on our camera, our camp cam, situated right outside of our house. She was there at 2:48 this morning, and her tracks head north from our camp. And now they've just called her in at Sescant, which is, as the crow flies, directly north, pretty much of where we live. So, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Also, not to sow too much hope. Firstly, I don't know if this is the same female. And secondly, we don't get a great look at our leopards all that often, but looking at the footage from this morning, this female looks like she could be pregnant, which would be ridiculously exciting for all of us, because a female leopard with a den is a very sedentary female. And so if we just find her a few times while she's denning, we can actually use, obviously not when the cubs are too young, we don't want to be disrespectful to the whole process, we don't want to draw attention to the den, we don't want to do anything unsafe or unethical. But we can use a known den site as a way to habituate them, because we know that the female will keep coming back to the same area to feed and look after her cubs. Hopefully, that is the case. Hi there. Hi. Woo, there's a little dusty. Geophagy. Eating the ground. Taste it. I wonder if we're all on the same Nope. See, the biggest problem here, or maybe that's where we'll go. I'm just checking my little map because I want to make sure that we head. If she went east, so I think I'm going to hop on to Kudu Noord and then down Ses Kudu track on the hopes, or in the hopes. Man, this is a massive herd of Impala. Look at where it starts. Good golly. Yeah, and they just continue. Probably because they're such beautiful grazing lawns. There's even more behind the thickets that you can't see on the camera. Thank you for indulging my Impala desires, Andrew. It's so many of them. None of you have babies. What's going on? Some of them look like they're about to pop. Racing the clock a little bit. I think we have 15 minutes left of drive, and I just want to try and get into that area so that we can, if we're lucky, catch up with her. My hopes are not high, but I have to try. Just have to.
Gareth, we start the elephant herd of Leopard done with the lion.
Ooh. Sounds like the Ellies have arrived at the lion side. What I'm just going to do is pick up the pace, keep the pace like this until we're in the area, and then I'm going to slow right down because if she is around, I really don't want to scare her, and I would really like to just give us the best chance to give her a positive experience with the vehicle. What we have to remember is if we're in the same area as a leopard, whether she sees us or not is actually secondary to the fact that she's having positive experiences with vehicles. So it's not about, it is about us seeing her. It's always about seeing a leopard, of course. But it's also about her seeing us, even when we haven't seen her, and her feeling safe. And that is how we'll slowly but surely get her habituated. She is, if she's the female, I think she is, and the female who was around our house this morning, early hours of this morning. If this is the same female, we suspect her territory is entirely incorporated on the Rietspruit Game Reserve, or within the Rietspruit Game Reserve. So that is not the case for most of our other leopards who we assume have territories outside of the boundary of the reserve. Let me go here. I will grab my spotlight, but I'm going to do it when we're just like a little closer. Just a little bit closer. Is this who called it in? Thank you! Thank you, thank you. Well, how are you? Did you see the leopard?
Yes.
Where?
Go down, you go from Sescant and you go south,
Yes, I'm looking at my map.
and then there's some tambuti trees almost in the middle of the road, about 50, 80 meters south of the tambuti trees.
Okay, north of the crypt.
No, south of the creek.
South of the crypt. Okay, cool. Okay, perfect.
Headed west. I mean east.
East, yeah.
Okay, we'll go check that 2 track. Thank you. I think if it was the same female, she drank at outside our camp this
We
morning.
saw it, yeah. It was
Yeah.
a nice picture.
Well, it was just
Send you
a,
video.
a camera. It doesn't count.
Video.
Thank you.
Well done. Well done. Good.
I've seen a leopard for a long time.
I've never seen one
Haven't you?
on this reserve. I've
Haven't
seen
you?
plenty, but I've never
I've
seen.
seen two in one day twice.
Where?
Can I have?
So one down at Hippo, and then we found it at
It's always on
yeah,
fire.
Sescant, and then Sescant and Pofada.
Wow.
My grandson is a
Oh, that's really special. Yeah. Hopefully we
Sometimes
can.
you get lucky, sometimes you don't. But if you don't go out, you don't get lucky.
Exactly.
And we'll get
Exactly.
luck, I hope you see.
Thank you. Thank you. We're gonna work hard for her. Yeah, let's go look. Just chatting to the homeowner who saw her. We've actually still got a little bit of ground to cover, which we can do. I want to show Andrew a leopard, everyone. I want to show all of you a leopard. I think what's really special is that when you come from, an environment where you see them all the time, you actually don't realize, people tell you that their nature is elusive, but it's like, yeah, whatever, their nature's elusive. I've never experienced the elusiveness of leopards until I've been on this reserve. And I think that is just a huge privilege, really. But I'm learning this facet of their character that is so well documented, the elusiveness. And I think I'm gonna shoot down, for now. Let's get into the last area. Whee! It's almost time. Well, it is almost time for a spotlight. This road's going to be a bit bumpy. Ellie's have been here as well. Okay, now this is the road that we kind of want to be on. It's going to pop us out. Oh, this is not where she was. She was a little bit further south than this.
Jack following up on the main line. Should be there in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Also
We're making our way.
just to the south. Copy. I'm approaching from Leopard Drive side. After that.
In my time here, it's pretty rare that we have so many. Oh, a lot of chatter. So many leopard sightings in 24 hours. It's actually awesome. It's very exciting. I was very worried because we were starting to see leopards in an increased frequency towards the end of the dry season, so just before our first summer rains in November. And that's because they had to concentrate around the water sources. So I thought, okay, now that the rain has come and there's seasonal pans everywhere, our chances of seeing leopard is going to drastically dwindle, but that doesn't seem to be the case. There seems to be good records of sightings, still about 2 or 3 times a week, which is substantial. I mean, we won't complain about 2 or 3 sightings a week. We would be grateful if the leopards would just last longer and we could all go through and have a look at them. But we'll get there. We'll habituate them slowly but surely. And the more she's seen, the more we have a very comprehensive understanding of where she moves. So a little scrub here. Just stop for a minute and have a look at him. Scrubby.
Okay, I've gone up on Blowbank. I was off my car. I'm not sure how many seconds on Blowbank.
Gone. Sweet scrub here. Nocturnal, one of the nocturnal animals that are starting to wake up and get ready for their evening of feeding. Hold on, Andrew. Whatever.
So I'm also not sure, but last count is
Number 7.
Stations up from the break, I've actually punched the lines. Can anyone confirm if they are correct message done? Yeah, the lines are still based done. So
Is this a little two-track, Andrew? Yeah, that's what we're looking at. Doesn't look like a two-track.
I'm not completely no. So let's get same position. Copy, thanks. About 5 minutes to ask. Let me know if I need to hold off, otherwise I'll make my way straight in.
Okay, this is where she was lost, everyone.
I think the vehicles will be able to speak to.
Go slow. Looking for eye shine mainly. Nice thing about a petrol vehicle as well is that it's not very loud. So it doesn't threaten the animals at all. But it's not so soft that it makes them think that it's trying to sneak up on them. So it's a nice petrol car is brilliant for this kind of safari. Andrew's seen a leopard in this area before with Basil. Oh, on this very road. Must be said that Basil did not see the same leopard. But Andrew did. Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, this is going to be an interesting, not too bad. Ouch. Don't want to be too scraped up. This is a 2-track that people are not driving. Come on, girl. Do it for me. You know, it's a bit crazy when you start talking to the leopard that can't hear you. She really could be anywhere here now. I'm sure she's gonna watch us. And we're gonna drive past. I do have eyes directly in front of me. They've just looked away. Yeah, in between the 2 trees there.
Grant, leaving a lot of lines of laser there. Open lock.
Quite far back. It's fine. Every now and then they flick, but I'm not I think
Approaching Lodge Dam in 2 minutes.
could be a dark. Okay, let's get a little closer. Eyes are gonna be the telltale eye shine that we get from the light. And I can't see what I saw. We are approaching the end of this road where we, and oh no, I think it's a diker. Ooh, my heart rate spiked. Yeah, it's in there, but I'm pretty sure it's a diker. It's not tall enough to be a leopard. Yeah, antelope. Antelope. Sorry, little thing. Didn't mean to blind you. Just want to make sure you're not a leopard. Alrighty. Keeping my eyes peeled. We'll give it till the end of the road here. We'll give it until we get to the end of this 2-track. If we've had no luck, then we'll have to try again another evening. Ah. Oh, my heart rate. Impala. Okay, we won't terrify them by shining on them too much, but they are on my left. On my left, we have two Impala. One is very pregnant. You're going to have to take my word for it, for we shall not be putting them on camera after dark. Where be the leopard? Where be the spotty cat? Oh no, I can go over it. I'm gonna have to. A little bit of four-wheel drive on for this because I don't feel like fighting the trees. Okay, this is not going to be good for habituating the leopard. Too easy. Oopsie. Okay, we've about just a little way left on this road, so we've still got some chance, but my hope is dwindling. My leopard hope is waning. I'm sure we are, or have been, a great sighting for her this evening. We have been her sighting. No doubt. Andrew, I think we've gone too far. I think we have missed her. And since she is not super relaxed with us, I think tonight is not my night. One day, it will be my night, everyone. One day, it will be my day. And I will find a leopard on this game reserve. And I will not cry. I might cry. Ooh, that's funny. Oh. It's only funny when you know that I could cry. I could. It's always a chance. There's always a chance. Okay, this is our main road. So we have had a fabulous evening with a lot of fun, a lot of hope, a lot of prospects, a lot of sleeping lions. Well, too. But it's been great having you with us. We hope to see you on our next drive very soon. Goodbye.